is Notsam Wrestling.
Introducing your host from New York, here is Sam Roberts.
Well, back on the podcast, and I can think of no more appropriate time than right now to have him back on. Ladies and gentlemen, all hail. He is the 5-time champion of the WCW champion of the world. He is the Hall of Famer, and he's getting ready to get back into a wrestling ring after 4 years being away. Ladies and gentlemen, Booker T, what's going on, man? What's the haps?
Hey, man, I'm feeling good right now. Getting ready to, go into this weekend. It's a big weekend for reality of wrestling more than anything. All of my guys, all of my crew, man, they're so excited. But it's huge. It's huge. The last stand, and I truly believe that this is the last stand.
You think this is your last? This is the last time you're going to be in. You're fighting Rex Andrews from Reality of Wrestling, and you're obviously, Reality of Wrestling is your baby. I guess if you're going to have a last match anywhere, it should be at the place that you built and created and that you're kind of trying to use to create the next generation of talent, right?
Definitely. We like the AAA of professional wrestling. We want to be the biggest out there that's doing it from this perspective, trying to get young guys to the next level. Rex Andrews is one of those young guys who've been with me since he was 17 years old, moved from Dothan, Alabama, just totally picked up everything and moved to Houston, Texas to learn the art of professional wrestling. And he's a grown man now, and he's made he's given me an ultimatum. I wrestle him or he's going to leave Reality of Wrestling. And I can't just let him leave without going ahead and giving him a little taste of what he wants. But I don't think he's going to like the taste of it once he gets it.
So at 17, did he specifically uproot because he was like, I want to go get trained by Booker T. This is the person that I want to learn under? Yeah,
man. This kid, he moved from Dothan, Alabama, and came to Houston and finished his education and came to Reality of Wrestling. And he's a grown man now. He has a business. He has a gym business that he's doing. That's doing pretty well. He trains in jiu-jitsu, mixed martial arts, as well as professional wrestling. And he's a kid that I see, high hopes for. He's a kid that I have big, big dreams for of making it to the next level. But he always just wanted to be the best at Reality of Wrestling, and definitely give him props for that.
That's got to be crazy pressure. Like, I'd be so worried that I would develop this reputation for myself the way you have, and you'd have people moving from other parts of the country just so they could get trained by you, because I'd be worried that somebody shows up and they're like, Booker, I moved all the way from Alabama or wherever else because this is the place that I want to be and this is the business that I want to be in. And then you're the guy who, if they get in the ring and you can tell right away they just don't have the chops, you have to sit there and go, listen, guy, I hope you didn't pay for any place around here because I don't know if the move was just right.
Well, I could tell you, I had this one guy. He came out. He said he came all the way from Africa, and he didn't pan out. It didn't last a week, and he blamed me for it. He blamed me for him not making it to the WWE. But the thing is, with Reality of Wrestling, we don't sell dreams. You know what I mean? We don't give promises that we can't keep or anything like that. We give it straight down the line as far as this is what you're going to expect. This is a grunt business. It's about paying your dues. You may never make it to the next level. That's all on you. Just like that song goes, it's on you, baby. That's all on those guys as far as how far they go in the business. But if they have the tools, if they have the attitude, if they have that it factor, I'm going to be the first one to say, "Hey, man, take a look at this guy. He may be the next one."
That's such a wild thing, though, because you would think that somebody who would have the kind of aspiration, who would have the work ethic to get themselves out of whatever they're doing, move to another country, track you down, train, and then once they get there, they decide that their part is over, and now it's on you. You're going like, wait, what happened to this guy that moved? Like, what happened to this work ethic that you used to have? Now it's on me?
I have guys actually that come to my school, and they fill me out, and one of the questions sometimes is, how long is it going to be before I make it to the WWE? And I go, wait a minute, you don't see a crystal ball in here anywhere, do you? I don't have any tricks up my sleeve to make that happen, But I've had them, come into my office, and they don't have any aspirations other than coming out and being the best at reality of wrestling, and then they go out there and they exceed, in the highest way, and then they go on to that next level, and then they exceed as well, like a Ember Moon, like a Brennan Williams, the ones that really, really want it and don't want anything handed to them. They want to go out there and get it on their own. That's why when Ember Moon made it to the main roster, I congratulated her, but I say, you did all the work yourself. Don't think that I did anything for you. You did this for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it always is amazing the way responsibility gets shifted around. When you decide that you're going to start this school and that you want to start training people, were you looking at the way you got trained as an example, or were you looking at the way you got trained as, I need to be the trainer that I wish I had?
I need to be the trainer that I wish I had. That's the way I looked at it. I want to give these young kids a half of a chance at making it in this business. You know how hard it is. I mean, there's so many guys out there trying to make it in this business, and there's so many shows out there where they can get so much misdirection, as well as pick up so many bad habits along the way. I want to alleviate that problem. I want to give them a chance to come into a school, learning it the proper way. Then we have the show. I tell my students, if you can make it on reality of wrestling, if you can make it on that roster, you may have what it takes to make it to the next level, because we've had guys that, come to reality of wrestling that just say, for instance, were there for 4 years, 5 years, and never got a chance to be on the show because they were not reality of wrestling material.
There was this great interview I watched on YouTube. It was a quick one. It was like 5 minutes, but Triple H, it was in the UK over the weekend, and he was talking about the Performance Center and how, guys from all over the world with all levels of experiences end up at that Performance Center, and it's everybody from guys that have never wrestled before to a guy like Finn Balor, who's wrestled all over the world. But he said that the difference about the Performance Center and the difference with the WWE is that they go way beyond wrestling, right? Like they take guys who have had these amazing, successful wrestling careers, but then open them up and say, look, there's all these elements of the business that you might not be aware of. I mean, it starts with the basics of promos, but it's like playing to cameras and figuring out the entrance and what direction to step in and where to put your arm here so that the audience reads this, and all kinds of little details that I think that you would need years in wrestling to really understand, the intricacies of it all. Since you've had so much experience, is that something that you take with you into reality of wrestling when you're putting together these shows?
I am. I'm a prime example. I'm a prime example of, everything that you just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
When I first got to WWE, I was a guy that was seasoned, that had been in the business for a long time. And then I got there and, I realized I was just a wrestler. I didn't know anything about television wrestling, really. I didn't know how to go out and, create as much as I possibly can. The character building side, I didn't know a whole lot about that. I tell, these young kids, a lot of great coaches, you may have never, heard of them from a superstar status, but trust me, they played on the team that played in the big game. They know exactly what it took to get to that level, and that's what I think I bring to the table more than anything. I've been there, I've seen it, as well as I've worked, the current champions of today, like AJ Styles, as well as I worked the past champions, like a Ric Flair in the past, so I've seen it from so many different perspectives. So I try to teach not just what we did in the past, but what these guys are doing today, and then try to mix it together and take it to the next level. I always say, the This Is Awesome chant. I love the This Is Awesome chant, but I need the Booker T chant before the This Is Awesome chant.
Right. You need the identifier should be you, not just the fact that everybody's having a good time here.
Exactly my point.
Right. So I mean, that's amazing for me to hear, though. Like the idea that is something that struck you when you got to WWE, because it's not like you had this career and you had been in Japan and on the Indies and stuff. You were WCW's number one guy. You were the WCW champion. You would think if anything could prepare you for WWE, it would be being that guy in the closest thing to WWE, which was WCW. I mean, WCW for a period of time was in terms of TV ratings and things like that, bigger than WWE. But still, you get to WWE and it's a whole new world.
Hey, man, when I was, like I said, in WCW, I was a wrestler, man. I was the ultimate wrestler. I can go out there and do it all. But when I got to WWE, I remember Blackjack Lanza. I was at a house show, and, I did a match. I can't remember who I wrestled now. I lost the match, and I pretty much just got up and, came to the back. I shook a few people's hands and whatnot. And I came on back, and Jack Lanza, he pulled me aside. He said, "Kids, you just missed a moment." You know what I mean? He told me what to do the following night, to go out there and do it totally different. And I went out there and did exactly what he said. And like I say, I'm a guy that's, 12 years in the business now almost. You know what I mean? Yeah, 12 years. And I did exactly what Blackjack told me to do. And the crowd was giving me a standing ovation by the time I got to one knee up from that same match.
Wow.
And then I got to my feet, people are literally clapping, like crazy. Everybody's standing. I'm walking out. I got my head down. I'm like, wow, man, I just learned something that I didn't even realize. I didn't know for that many years. I remember doing something in a match one time, and I screwed it up, and I came back, and I didn't know what happened. How did I get to that position? And this man told me, "Well, you should have did this when you did that." And I go, "Man, how did he know that?" And I did. You know what I'm saying? So when people like that, it's when you're watching from an outside perspective and you know what you're talking about, you know what you're doing, you see it. It's so vivid to you, and that's what I've learned. You know what I mean? I've had so many great teachers, so many great mentors along the way. I just take from them and try to give it back at the same time.
Were you like that from the beginning of getting to WWE? Because I would imagine there are people in that period of time, WCW had been so successful. There were a lot of people that were coming into WWE from WCW that hadn't been there, but had these tremendous careers in WCW that maybe would not have that attitude, that would have the attitude of like, I know what I'm doing. You don't need to teach me, okay? I'm a big star. I've been here, and would not be as open to the advice as it seems like you were.
I've always been, I got a rule, and my rule is, when you're 100% of the time, you feel 100% about something, you speak up 100% of the time. When you're 99%, you keep your mouth shut. A lot of times, it's that 99% rule. You want to take it, you want to filter it, and you want to see exactly if it's good information. And for me, I was a sponge. I say, hey, let's see how far I can take this thing. I want to be able to learn, their style of working, and if I wasn't, willing to do that, I probably would have been on the outside looking in, just like all the rest of those WCW guys back in the day,
Yeah.
I remember, I actually remember Marcus Bagwell telling Pat Patterson, you don't have to worry about me getting over.
Well, I don't think he worried about it. He didn't. You're right. He didn't have to worry about it for very long.
Exactly my point. You know what I mean? So you gotta know how to, keep your mouth shut and go out there and see if you're going to get over or not before you start making certain claims.
And then Booker T comes over and says, "Oh, you can worry about me. You can worry about me all you want."
Oh yeah, definitely worry about me. Whatever you got, just give it to me, and I'm gonna try to utilize it. So, but that's what the business is about. Being able to listen, take instruction, go out there and make it the best you possibly can each and every night. I've heard so many guys, talk about not being able to get over because the writer's not writing stuff for them. I mean, back in the day, we didn't worry about the writers writing anything for us. We went over, we went out there and got ourselves over. If the fans were bringing the signs, we were going out there giving compelling matches, drama, Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet. We knew we were going to get put in a good spot. That's the way the wrestling business worked then, and I really think the business still works that way today.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you think when you see a group like All Elite Wrestling popping up, and they've got money, they've got the Khan family, they've got all this talent coming in, do you think that they may suffer from that same thing where they don't quite know exactly what it is that can make this product so special and so big, or do you think that because there's a guy like Cody Rhodes running around who's experienced everything there is to experience in WWE and kind of was raised in that environment, and now Chris Jericho is around, that those brains are going to be the ones that go, no, you got to pay attention to this detail or that detail?
Well, definitely having someone like Cody, having someone like, Billy Gunn, he just came on board.
Yeah.
I heard. Having guys like that, Chris Jericho, those guys they're smart guys. They know the business. They know exactly what it takes to sustain at a certain level, because they all worked at a certain level. They all have made it to the big time. All those guys have worked at WrestleMania at some point in time in their career, especially at Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
But I tell you, they're going to have to tread water very, very fine, because, just throwing out money and giving away, money like that, big contracts coming in and whatnot. I've seen that. I've seen it happen with WCW when a lot of guys came in. There was a lot of money getting thrown around, and nobody was really thinking about the product. No one was really thinking about the ratings and whatnot, and what it was going to, as well as the investors, the stockholders and whatnot. Nobody was thinking about that kind of stuff. So I think, they're going to have to tread water very fine. They're going to have to get a good crew together. They're going to have to have great storylines, because fans are the best at times, but they could be the worst at times, especially with social media today. And they could make one bad mistake, or one small mistake, and it could get blown totally out of proportion. One thing about professional wrestlers, I can only speak of the wrestler of my era. We always said, man, a wrestler, man, it was screw it up for everybody. Just one, one disgruntled wrestler not getting what he wants. You know what I mean? One bad night. You know what I mean? And the media gonna pick something up and run with it. So as well as working on a yearly basis, guys going out there and not getting hurt, guys going out there and not getting injured. It's gonna be definitely a test for the Khan family, and hopefully they're ready for it.
How great is it for you in the position that you're in to also be going back and doing stuff with WWE once a month, doing the kickoff shows, doing whatever? Sometimes it's more than once a month, but to be able to be in the belly of the beast on a regular basis. So it's not like you're coming to your classes and saying, like, look, I was in WWE and here's how they did things 10 years ago. You're going and saying, I know exactly how they did things 10 years ago, but I know exactly how they're doing things today as well. And this is kind of the direction the business would be in. Do you think that becomes an asset?
Oh, man, it definitely does. I mean, I love my job, doing what I do. Still being able to have my hands on with the young guys, whatnot, as well as produce the young guys for them, try to get as many young guys to that platform as I possibly can. But, talking A&E, AEW, excuse me,
Mm-hmm.
Those guys, they're going to need guys as well. WWE can't fuel, the whole wrestling world. You know what I mean? Those guys are going to need talent. They're going to need young talent, and if it's guys that's not going to make it to WWE, that could, filter their way over there, it's going to be awesome. You know what I mean? But for me, my life is great, man. I actually was, reading some stuff that, I was trying to get an AEW contract.
you were reading that.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute. Why about this? Wait about trying? Yeah, people said that, I'm coming out and having this one match just to show, Cody Rhodes and those guys I can still go. Like the people are crazy. So social media is running rampant, guys. So they're just gonna have to tread water real fine. But me personally, I'm fine, man. I'm happy, working with WWE. I mean, I'm gonna be with WWE probably till I'm about 64 years old or something like that. So I'm good on the contract side.
Yeah. So the last stand is not your last ditch effort to make Cody Rhodes realize that you still got something left in the tank.
No way, Jose, man. I'm like, I'm loving what Cody and those guys are doing, man. Like I say, this is huge.
Mm-hmm.
I was just talking to Bubba Ray and those guys just yesterday, and I say wrestling is me personally, and I don't, people can say whatever they want to say, but me personally, I think the wrestling business is hotter now than it's ever been. Back in the day, they didn't have WrestleCon. Back in the day, they didn't have all of the conventions and whatnot that we're having now. Back in the day, there wasn't so many independent companies running where, guys that didn't have the name of a Cody Rhodes could still make money like a Marty Scurll and be able to, survive on the independent scene and take care of his family. It has not been this big, I don't think ever. And I think the wrestling business right now is in a really, really good place.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when you think about it, that sort of Monday Night Wars era, it was probably the highest for that small group of people, WWE, WCW, but in terms of spreading out the wrestling business and seeing, there's spaces for people everywhere, and it feels like it's only growing and growing and growing. I don't think that the net has ever been cast this wide.
And people, that say, Booker T, what is he talking about? The wrestling, what about the Monday Night? I understand that. But I really think, like you just said, from an overall perspective, you know what I mean, as far as wrestling around the country on a weekly basis, I'm talking about Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you look it up online, it's a show going, not several shows going on weekly, and like I say, and these shows are paying really, really good money for talent to actually show up and be on the show. So right now, I think the wrestling business is literally on fire. I think it's at its, I wouldn't say at its peak or anything like that, but it's at its hottest it's been in quite some time, as ever.
And the technology is moving along so that people can get these audiences. For example, on Saturday, January 19th, you can watch Booker. There was a time, when you would do, when Shawn Michaels had his wrestling school in Texas, he had what he claimed was his one last match, and you could only watch it. Like, I was a tape trader in high school, so I had to find a VHS copy of a copy of Shawn's last match that was broadcast on local TV in Texas so that I could see it, and, not knowing that it wasn't even close to his last match. But The Last Stand, you're doing it on iPay-per-view. So the people in Houston are going to be able to see it in person, but now everybody can watch this thing. I mean, I think that that's part of what you're talking about, that the stuff like iPay-per-view and putting things online and on YouTube and whatnot have made it so shows that normally would have an audience of, a few hundred can have an audience of 10,000 or more because, and globally, iPay-per-view is everywhere, right?
Hey, man, not having to pay that, big budget network, we're not that big. We're a small company. We're a mom and pop shop. We're just trying to make some money here and a little money there to, keep everything going, buy a few cameras here, try to make the company a little bit bigger. Hopefully this thing explodes. You never know, but with social media, there's a chance, with able to stream online, without, paying anyone to do it, other than, our streaming service. It's huge. It's unbelievable. For us, Reality of Wrestling, we're getting ready to drop our own app, our own Reality of Wrestling app here within the next, few days. So people will be able to watch all of the Reality of Wrestling, content on our own platform, which is, our WWE network in a sense, So our thing is, it's beautiful, here in 2019 and the way the world is, just moved so far ahead as far as being able to do stuff like that. I always say, I can only imagine, where ECW would be if they had social media and streaming service, the way that company exploded back in the day. I can only imagine if they had what we have today, So we're just going to utilize it. The Last Stand, it's going to be up. Go to realityofwrestling.com. You can check it out. Go to Fight TV. Download that Fight TV app. It's free as well. You can check it out. But check out what we're doing here on the Gulf Coast, because I think Reality of Wrestling, not to pat myself on the back, man, but we really got a really good thing going on down here in Texas.
Although if ECW had tried to go global on the internet, YouTube probably would have busted them for music rights finally. They were New Jack would have had to figure out a whole new angle.
Sandman, all of them. Man.
Yeah.
All of those guys.
So, What are you doing
Hey,
to?
man, but they used it as long as they could, man. They got away with it as well, man.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, Paul Heyman knew. Paul. It doesn't hurt, to have having lawyers in the family, but
Exactly.
figuring out how you can use all that music and still be, this mom and pop thing. It's amazing. Sometimes it helps to have only a limited number of eyes and ears on certain aspects of the product.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I really believe that also. You know what I mean? Like you said, they wouldn't have been able to get away with stuff like that. But I think the company would have flourished. I think they could have
I do
found
too.
somebody to throw some music together and fake Nirvana, just like Dallas Page did. You'll find somebody to do it. You know what I mean? But just the action, the energy in that ECW arena, man. It was infectious. It was off the chains. Just actually seeing it, we didn't get it on television down here, but when you did see ECW, you knew it was something totally different than you had seen before. That's why I just say it would have blown up.
Yeah, I think I 100% agree with you. What are you, speaking of getting blown up, what are you doing to get yourself in shape for this last match? Nothing. All right, I know you've been working out forever, okay? I know last time I saw you, I think the only thing you were eating was pistachios, and a lot of pistachios. You were just munching on those pistachios because it's all you could eat right now. But what are you doing to get yourself in ring shape?
I'm hoping and praying. That's what I'm doing. No, I'm serious, man. I'm hoping and praying that muscle memory kick in. I'm hoping and praying that, it's like riding a bicycle, I picked the jump rope up and, boom, I knock out 100 reps with no problems, so I'm just hoping and praying that, it all comes back to me. I can't practice or anything like that. I've never been one of those guys. Never, not throughout my whole career. I've been one to be able to go out and practice and try to figure out what I'm going to do before I go out and do it. It's just always been, out of my head. Now I'm working with a young guy who works from a totally different perspective, a real true grappler. And it's kind of like the Rocky Balboa story, when he had no speed left, what I mean? He had no, he was not quick of feet or anything like that. He had nothing but power. He had to use nothing but raw brute strength, So I'm just thinking about a fight going into this thing with Rex Andrews. And normally in a fight, the adrenaline kicks in. The adrenaline kicks in to a point to where you'll go until you drop, and hopefully that's what's going to happen on Saturday night. I'm going to just go. I'm just going to put it in gear and see exactly what the old body still had. At 53 years old, and I'm still trying to go out and hang and bang in the zone just one more time.
Do you think that you can? Are there any more spinneroonies left in your body whatsoever? I know you've said no before, but then done spinneroonies anyway. So
well, spinneroonie is definitely in my blood. Spinneroonie is something that I feel like I'm going to be able to do spinneroonie forevermore. Honestly, to the end, I feel like I'll be able to go out and just do one spinneroonie, if not just but one. Somehow I'll conjure up the will to actually be able to get it done. Somehow I'll find myself, saying, "Hey, you got to do it just for the people," So I'm ready. I'm ready as I'm going to get. People say, "Hey, man, you ready? You ready for this thing?" I'm ready as I'm going to get, man. I'm not getting any younger or anything like that. I'm going to go out and throw hands just like we did back in the old days.
So speaking of the old days, when you're sitting here and you're talking about this potentially being your last match and saying like, okay, we did it. Are there any moments or eras of your career that you look at and go like, I wish I had done that differently, or that's a match that I never got to have that I always intended to, or anything like that? Not necessarily regrets, because that's probably too strong a word, but just, little moments where you're like, I wish I had done that, 2 years before or after I actually did it, or, yeah.
Not really, man. The thing is, not really. My career has been set. I've had a great career. Even this right now, last stand match, it's for my wrestling company. I won't put my boots on and go and wrestle anywhere else. I don't think forever throughout the rest of my life. I just don't think so. I don't want to. I don't need to. I've scratched every itch as far as that goes. This thing here is something I'm doing for my wrestling company, just like Vince McMahon would do it for his wrestling company. I mean, I've seen him do it many, many times.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when the ratings go down, Vince's going to show back up, and if you have to have a match, you got to have one. Just to get people excited. That's the way it's always been.
Mm-hmm.
I've always vowed not to try to be that guy in my wrestling company as well. You know, I don't want to be the guy in my wrestling company. It's for my young guys. It's for my young soldiers that's, you know, building this thing for me and helping me, you know, carry it to the next level. You know, but to be able to go out there and, you know, participate and show the world that, hey, we got something, and we got something special down here at Reality of Wrestling. Hey, that's only my job and my duty. But no, I have no regrets throughout my whole wrestling career. I've done it all, man. I've seen it all. And the beauty of it, man, I'm still here. The beauty of it, I'm still doing it. The beauty of it, I got the best seat in the house at every pay-per-view, you know. So
Yeah.
I could not ask for more out of my career. I don't know too many people have had, you know, a ride like Booker T has had, you know, this 28 years, man. It's been awesome.
So, you know, I mean, I thought, you know, going back to Shawn Michaels again, you know, oddly enough, I thought that when Shawn had his match at Crown Jewel, when he came back for one match, I said, oh, no. I said to myself, you know what this is? He must have been down at that performance center. He got bit by the bug. He thinks he's coming back for one match, but I'll bet Shawn's going to get bit. I'll bet he'll be back in the ring. I'll bet. And as soon as that match was over, he goes, yep, that was one, and I'm done, and I'm not coming back. And I go, oh, well, never mind. I guess that bug doesn't always bite as hard as you think it's going to. Is that at all something?
Yeah.
Is it that? So that's not in your head. Like, you don't think that you're going to get in this ring with Rex Andrews at the Last Stand on Saturday on iPay-per-view, and you're going to have this match, and win or lose, there's going to be something in your blood that goes, you know what? I kind of want to do more of this. You don't think so?
Let me tell you something. Wrestling is hard. Wrestling is not. It's not easy.
Yeah.
For me to have been out of the ring now, like I say, 4 years, almost 4 years to the day, not taking one bump. I haven't fallen down anywhere. You know, I haven't bumped my knee or anything. Now I'm serious. And then they have to get in the ring and know you're going to have to, you know, put yourself through that. It takes a certain mentality. It's a young man's game. And for me, I don't think I'm going to get in the ring. And I can honestly tell you this. I don't want to do it. Okay?
Right.
I can honestly tell you. No, I'm serious. I can honestly tell you. I can honestly tell the world. I do not want to get inside of that squared circle. When I'm, you know, just say for instance, when I go to WWE events,
Yeah.
I make sure I'm at least 25 yards away from the ring. I have a phobia about being around a wrestling ring. I do not ever want to be, you know, within the vicinity of a wrestling ring anymore in my life. So for me going into, you know, Saturday night, I'm afraid. I'm a little nervous. I'm a little scared as far as this moment goes, because I don't relish my body ever feeling like that ever again. You know, I know what's going to happen. I know come Saturday night, I'm going to go out and I'm going to, you know, leave it all in the ring. I know that. I know come Sunday morning, I'm not going to be able to roll out of bed. I know come Monday morning, you know, Charmel is going to have to try to pull me up out of bed because it's going to be that much worse. Come Tuesday morning, things are going to maybe start leveling out Wednesday and Thursday and whatnot, but it's going to take 4, you know, good days to get over that one night, you know. So I'm not looking forward to this one bit, not one bit at all.
I just love the way
But
you.
I got it. But I got to do it.
You got to do it. And I love the way you phrase that, because now every fan listening knows that if you ever in the future see Booker T in a wrestling ring, you have to know that no matter what his face looks like, no matter what his actions tell you, no matter what's going on, he doesn't want to be there. Booker T does not want to be there.
No, I don't. That's not. I'm not just saying that either, man.
Right.
I'm really not. I'm not just saying that. I mean, this is all. You know, my guys have been trying to, you know, talk me back into the ring for a long time. Booker, why don't you just have one match to do it? And I'm like, I just can't. But now I have a reason. I have a reason to actually go out there and do it. You know, I'm going out there and facing literally Rex Andrews. This kid's a prodigy. He's literally one of the best the business is going to get a chance to see here in the future. This guy's going to have a hell of a career in the WWE. I'm going to just go out on a limb and say it. This kid's going to have a hell of a career. But for me to get my hands on him first, to test him and see exactly how good he really is, it's going to be a pleasure for me come Saturday night.
So I always come at you from the fan perspective, whether it's when we're talking, whether it's on the kickoff shows, no matter where because that's my perspective. That's all I know. And I'll tell you as a fan, and what I think other fans are going to see when they're watching this, is not only get to see you, not only get to see Rex, but there's this idea in the back of all our heads that we're looking at the calendar and we know it's that time of the year. We know that it's the middle of January, right? And Booker T is wrestling for the first time in 4 years. So in my mind, and I think in a lot of fans' minds, we've got this picture of Vince McMahon hearing about the fact that this match is happening, because you know that Vince knows this match is happening. Hearing about the fact and hearing about this and going, Book, we got the Royal Rumble. We need a number 22 in this Royal Rumble match. Get your ass in that ring. We need you, buddy. We need you in the Rumble. What if you get the call and Vince says, look, it's not a match. I know. You don't want to have another match. You don't have to have another match. But number 22 is wide open. We need it. We need Booker T in the Rumble this year.
Hey, you know what? An invitation to the Rumble is not something that you can turn down.
Okay.
It's not like going out and having a singles match or anything like that. But, if I was to slip on a banana peel, by the grace of the gods, by somehow and win the Royal Rumble,
right?
I could set myself up for a big downfall.
Yeah, because that's what I was going to say. With your luck, it would be down to Booker T and John Cena and Seth Rollins. Cena and Seth Rollins eliminate each other, and Book is left in the main event of WrestleMania.
Yeah, and I'm back on the roster. But no, to be able to come out and test myself against the young guys, one last time. I wouldn't say one last time, but one more time. It would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never going to say no to a chance to actually get back into the ring, WWE ring or anything like that. Preparation is the only luck you're ever going to have. But I'm not one of those guys who's going to be, sending or writing in or trying to petition, hey, let's get Booker T in the Rumble. That's not something that's going to happen. I scratched every itch.
Right.
I really truly have, and I love the company. I love it to its core. But I know being in the Rumble, I'm gonna have to go out there and I'm gonna have to suffer a little bit. That following night, I'm gonna have to suffer. Those next few days, I'm gonna have to suffer because I'm gonna be in a lot of pain. But I would love to take that challenge upon myself and see exactly what I still have left in the tank. Just one more time.
And I would hope if that happens. I know that we're friends and everything, but I would hope that there is the Phoenix screw job, and by that I mean Vince has everybody eliminate themselves, and you are forced to go back on the roster. And then, you gotta be kidding me!
No way! I jump out the ring and just jump on Jerry Lawler just for the hell of it. They just have to fire me.
Well, listen, I want everybody. You can go, it's realityofwrestling.com. January 19th, that's Saturday. It's going to be available on iPay-per-view, The Last Stand. And there's two big reasons for this. And they're both coming out. Number one, you're going to get to see what Booker T believes will be and what he very much wants to be his last match. But number two, a couple minutes ago, you just said you see Rex Andrews as a WWE superstar. So if people want to get on this bandwagon now and say oh yeah, I've been watching Rex Andrews forever, get this iPay-per-view, watch Booker T's last match, but you can also watch what the man that you believe Booker will be the future, and that's Rex Andrews.
Yeah, definitely check it out. Check it out to see the future. Check it out to see the future in Rex Andrews, but not just Rex Andrews. The card is stacked. Hai Young, our Diamonds champion, she's going to be on there. Fly Death, our tag team champion is going to be on there. The television champion, Van Harrison, he will be on there. Aiden Cristiano making his return. And these are names, guys, that you perhaps have never heard before. But once you see them one time, you're going to go, wow, these guys really got it. And Reality of Wrestling is the show to watch. Guys, check it out. Download the Fight TV app. Go to realityofwrestling.com. Do it. Do it now.
I can't wait.
Do it for you.
Do it now. Thank you, Booker. I always appreciate the time, man.
Always, man. Appreciate you. Holla back.